In this video, we'll be covering the cam side of the Mill Express example. So we're going to go ahead and go to our machining job and click milling and then choose our machine as the BC3X mill, and then we're just going to hit OK. Now, before we can actually create this whole thing, we're going to create a rectangle that goes around this for the facing geometry and the stock. So we're going to come down to our Layer UCS Post Manager and right click, say Add New Layer, and call it Facing. And then just put our check mark on that layer. And then we're going to go up to Other and Rectangle. And then for our length in X, we're going to say 6.5. And then our width in Y, we're going to say 4.25. And then we'll see our total shape when we're at 0. So at 0 is not going to put us in the right spot. So we need to go to X and say 0.875. It's going to shift the whole thing over, and then we just hit OK. And then we can go ahead and cancel out, and now we have this rectangle around our part. So then we can go over to our cam tree, right click on milling stock and say Stock Wizard. We're going to choose rectangular stock and hit next. And then what we want to do is, instead of using a bounding box auto from the workspace, we're going to say pick and then pick our geometry and hold shift and pick that shape right there. Then we're going to right click and hit OK. It's going to update that stock. And then right here in Z, we're going to say 0.1 is getting added to that. And then we'll go ahead and hit next. And then for the origin, we're going to go ahead and say origin and pick the bottom left corner, top of part. And then after the origin set, we're going to go ahead and pick our work offset. Now the work offset is important to create proper simulation when using the Machine Simulation Pro. These values shift the part location on the virtual machine inside of the Bobcad simulation. So what we're going to do is enter some values in here, and they're going to shift this part so it sits at the center of the machine. So in X, we're going to go ahead and put it at minus 3.25. And then in Y, we're going to do a distance of minus 2.125. And then in Z, we're going to go ahead and change it to 3 inches. And then just hit OK. And then inside our machine setup, we're just going to hit OK. And now we're going to go ahead and blank out the stock by right-clicking on milling stock and saying blank. And we'll go up to our machine setup, go down to mill 2-axis. We'll select our geometry. For our facing geometry, it's just going to be this shape here, so hold shift and then hit OK. And then go next. And our total depth on this is 0.1. Go next. We're going to be facing this, and then we'll hit next. Next. The tool we're going to use when we do this is going to be a diameter of 2 inches with a corner radius of 0, so it's a 2-inch flat face mill, and Bobcat automatically chose that for us. And then we'll hit next. We want to go ahead and zigzag off the workpiece with a distance of 0.125. We're going to go in the X direction, and our start position is going to be the upper left-hand corner. And then we'll hit next. Our parameters, we're not leaving a bottom allowance. We're wanting this to face all the way off, and we're going to take it in one cut. So then we'll hit next. Our leads, we'll just leave them as the defaults. And then our links, we're going to make arcs. So we want it to arc in between each one of these. And then we can go ahead and hit compute. And we'll see our first toolpath right there as it links around and just cuts across the part. So let's right click on this feature and say blank on blank toolpath, and then just shrink it up in the tree so that we don't see it. Then we're going to right click on machine setup and go down to mill 2-axis. And then we're going to go ahead and click select geometry. So our geometry for this one is going to be this outer profile. So the way I'm going to select this is hover over the edge, right click and say constant Z, and it's just going to run all the way around the part. Make sure when you click on it, you do the right click, but you don't actually left click on this first. You just hover over it and then right click, otherwise you won't get the right selection. And then right click and hit OK. And then go next. Our total depth on this is going to be to the bottom, so let's say pick bottom. And we're just going to pick this edge down here, and it's going to be 0.85 down. Hit next. For this one, we're just going to do a profile with a profile rough and a finish. Go next, next. Our tool for this one, we're going to go up to our tool crib and say add a tool from the tool library. We're going to sort by our diameter, and then we're going to go ahead and choose the 1/2 inch rough end mill standard, and then hit OK, and then hit OK. And there's our tool, so then we'll hit next. For our pattern, we're going to go ahead and choose side roughing with a stock remaining of 1 inch and 3 passes to clear that out. And then we're going to use system compensation right, and then hit next. And then our side allowance we're going to leave as 15 thousandths, but we are going to do multiple steps on this one. And we're going to do even depths, and I'm going to go ahead and put in 0.1417, and it should give us 6 even depths all the way through. And then we'll just hit next. No change on this leads page, so we'll hit next. No change to the corner types or the machine sequence, so we'll just next our way through those 2 pages. Hit next again, and now we pick our finish mill. So we're going to go up to our tool crib. We're going to go to end mill finish, add from the tool library. We're going to sort by the diameter, and we're going to go in and find our 1/8 inch standard end mill. So right there, and then hit OK, and hit OK. And then hit next. Our patterns, we're going to go ahead and use system comp right, and then hit next. Our side allowance, bottom allowance, we're not changing anything here. This is just our finish pass, so then we'll hit next again. Our leads for this one, if we want to add some leads, we'll say a right angle, 1/4 inch is fine. And then our corner types and machine sequence we're not worried about. So we'll just go ahead and compute this, and we'll see all of our toolpath on the outside of the part. So again, we're going to come over here, right click on the feature, and blank it out, and then shrink it up. And then right click on machine setup, go down to mill 2 axis, say select geometry. Our geometry for this inside pocket, all we're going to do is pick that bottom surface, and then right click and hit OK. Then when we go next, it automatically pulls the edges from that surface, and then we can go and pick our bottom. So the bottom of that, we just pick the edge, and we'll see it's 0.6. So then we'll go ahead and hit next. This time we're going to be pocketing with a pocket and a profile finish. So then we'll hit next. And then for our rough tool, we're going to go up to our tool crib. We're going to add a tool from the tool library. We're going to go find our 0.375 standard end mill, and then click OK, and then hit OK. And now we load up with that 3/8 flat end mill, and then hit next. Then we're going to go ahead and choose an offset pocket out. We're going to climb mill with a step over of 50%, and then hit next. Our side allowance at 15 thou. We are going to change to multiple steps, and our depth of cut we're going to say is 0.2 at a time. So that's going to make 3 cuts all the way down. Go next. This time we're going to ramp into the part. We're not going to plunge into the material. We're going to ramp, and we'll say a 1/4 inch ramp length, and then an angle of approach of 3 degrees. And then go next. Our machine sequence, we're not going to change anything there. Hit next. We get to our finish tool, which we're just going to use the same finish tool we had before, so it automatically selected it. And then hit next. We have our system compensation. We'll go ahead and set that to left. Go next. Our parameters on this one, since it's a finish pass, we're just going to go in and clean up the wall. So we'll hit next. We'll go ahead and turn on a lead in. We'll say right angle at 0.25. And then the rest of these pages we'll just next through and then hit compute. And we'll see our inside pocket there. So then we're going to right click on feature 2 axis again, blank it out, and shrink it up. The next thing we're going to do is go in and add that chamfer to the inside of this. So we're going to right click on machine setup, go down to mill 2 axis. So the area we want to pick is going to be this edge right here. So we're just going to go ahead and pick all the edges that make this up. Zoom in if you have to. Make sure you click each edge, rotate, pick the other edges, and then right click and hit OK. And then hit next. Our total depth, we're going to go ahead and say pick bottom. We want the bottom of it to be right here. So it's 0.1354. And then we'll go ahead and hit next. We're going to go ahead and choose a chamfer this time with a chamfer mill. Hit next. Next. And then we're going to go up to our tool crib and go to our tool library. We're going to go ahead and choose our 1/4 inch chamfer end mill, and then hit OK. And then hit OK again. It's going to load up with everything we need, and then we hit next. We're going to go ahead and use a system comp left, and then hit next. Our cutter position we're going to leave at 0.2. And then all the rest of this information is going to be picked from the tool, but we are going to change to a chamfer depth. So it goes 0.01, small diameter 0.125 with a chamfer angle of 45 degrees. Hit next. And then we're going to go ahead and hit a right angle lead in at a 1/4 inch. That way it's offset in our tool. Hit next, and then compute. And we have just that small little tool path right there for us. And then while we're looking at this, go ahead and hit Control 7 and then F on your keyboard to fit everything to the screen. And then we'll come over to our feature 2 axis again, blank it out, and then shrink it up. And then the last thing we have to do is drill some holes. So we'll right click on machine setup, go down to mill drill hole. We'll select our geometry, and for our geometry we're just going to pick the top edge of all 4 of these holes. And then this. And then this. And then always rotate around your part to make sure you didn't select something that you don't want, like this right here. We can deselect that and then just rotate around, make sure everything's good, hit Control 7, and then right click and hit OK. So we'll see we have all our holes. We want the diameter to be 0.25. Our total depth though, we're going to select this and then say it is 0.7. And then through hole, and then hit next. And then next. We're going to go ahead and do a hole with a center drill and a drill. Go next, and then next. And I'm not going to change the default tools for this, so we're just going to go ahead and next through this. Depths are all fine. And then we're going to go ahead and keep with the defaults on the drill. Hit next. Keep with the defaults on the parameters, except we are going to change it to a peck. We'll just use the 1/8 inch peck, and then hit compute, and there's all our toolpath right there. So if I right click on machine setup and say blank on blank all toolpath, and then right click again and say blank on blank all, we can see all the toolpath that it's going to take to cut this part out, and then you'd have to come through and do a final cut to cut it all the way through. And that concludes the video on the MillExpress cam example.